Today, we're exploring New England to bring 25 of its most haunting legends back to life. Stories you might still encounter today. Number 25, the Wood Devils. In the dense forests near the Canadian border of New Hampshire, strange figures are said to lurk between the trees. Tall, thin, and covered in grayish hair, the creatures known as the Wood Devils have been reported by hunters and hikers since at least the mid-20th century. These beings are described as fast-moving and eerily silent, capable of vanishing into the woods almost instantly. Locals say they never make noise and never attack, but the feeling of being watched is unforgettable. Sightings are most common around Coos County, where the remote wilderness stretches for miles. Witnesses often speak of encountering the creatures standing upright behind trees, just out of sight. When spotted, they dart away at incredible speeds, slipping through the underbrush without a sound. Their tall, lean bodies seem to blend with the trees, and their movements are unnaturally smooth, like something that doesn't quite belong. Some believe the Wood Devils are simply a regional version of Bigfoot, but their size and behavior set them apart. They don't roar or leave large footprints, and they avoid confrontation at all costs. Others think they're spirits or beings from another realm, protectors of the deep woods who reveal themselves only when they choose to. Over time, these legends have become part of North Country lore, passed down with a sense of mystery and respect. Despite the lack of hard evidence, stories of the Wood Devils have endured for decades. Campers still whisper about shadowy shapes beyond the firelight, and old-timers claim to have seen something watching them during long hunts. Whether a cryptid or something stranger, the legend remains one of New Hampshire's most chilling tales. Number 24, the Conjuring House. In the quiet town of Harrisville, Rhode Island, a weathered farmhouse hides a past darker than its peaceful surroundings suggest. Known worldwide as the inspiration for the movie The Conjuring, the house was once home to the Perron family, who moved in during the 1970s. What began as a dream home quickly turned into a nightmare as the family experienced unexplainable sounds, objects moving on their own, and terrifying apparitions. The most feared presence was believed to be the spirit of Bathsheba Sherman, a woman accused of witchcraft in the 1800s who allegedly lived on the property. The parents claimed that Bathsheba's ghost targeted the mother, Carolyn, with particular cruelty. Doors slammed, beds shook, and at one point, Carolyn felt as though a sharp needle pierced her skin. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were called to help, but the haunting only escalated. The real events behind the haunting are still debated, but the Perron family stood by their experiences. Their stories included full-body apparitions, phantom smells, and cold spots that would appear and vanish. The chilling accounts left such an impression that they inspired books, documentaries, and one of the most successful horror franchises in modern cinema. But even without Hollywood, the house's reputation speaks for itself. Today, the farmhouse still stands and is open for overnight stays and ghost tours. Those who visit report strange activity, doors opening on their own, disembodied voices, and feelings of dread. The legend of the Conjuring House isn't just a movie, it's a piece of Rhode Island folklore built on decades of fear and unshakable memories. Number 23, Melon Heads. In the shadowy woods of southern Connecticut, especially near Fairfield County, strange stories have passed from generation to generation, Tales of the Melon Heads. According to legend, these mysterious figures are small, pale beings with large bulbous heads. Some say they were once children with hydrocephalus, who escaped from a now-abandoned asylum deep in the woods. Others believe they were part of a cruel government experiment gone horribly wrong. Whatever their true origin, their image continues to haunt locals and thrill seekers. Most reports come from back roads and forested paths, where drivers claim to see quick flashes of movement or small figures darting through the trees. Some say the Melon Heads will even chase your car or throw stones to scare away intruders. Several roads, like Sawmill City Road and Velvet Street, often called Dracula Drive, have become legendary for such encounters, drawing curious visitors each year, hoping to catch a glimpse. Those who claim to see them describe eerie silence just before the sighting, followed by rustling in the bushes or tapping on windows. Locals warn that if you venture too far into the woods at night, you might not come back the same. The Melon Heads are said to be territorial and don't take kindly to strangers. Though no proof has ever been found, the fear remains deeply rooted in the region's folklore. Whether they're based on real people, misunderstood medical history, or pure invention, the Melon Heads have earned their place among Connecticut's most unsettling legends. Their eerie presence, tied to rural isolation and unexplained sightings, keeps their story alive. Every whisper through the trees and crunch of leaves might just be one of them, still watching from the shadows. Number 22, Green Lady Cemetery. In Burlington, Connecticut, an old cemetery tucked along Upson Road holds more than headstones and overgrown paths. This quiet place, known as Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery, is home to one of the state's most famous ghost stories, the Green Lady. According to local legend, the ghost is believed to be that of Elizabeth Palmiter, a woman who lived in the 1800s and met a tragic fate in the nearby swamp. Elizabeth was said to be searching for her missing husband one stormy night, wandering through the woods in despair. Some stories say she slipped and drowned in the swamp, while others claim she was the victim of foul play. Her grief, locals say, never left the land. Now her spirit reportedly appears in a glowing green mist or even as a shimmering figure in a green dress, silently roaming through the gravestones. Visitors report strange activity, camera malfunctions, sudden chills, and the feeling of being followed. Some even claim to see her face peering out from behind trees or gliding silently across the cemetery. What makes the legend stronger is that people keep returning with new stories, keeping her memory alive year after year. Even those who arrive skeptical often leave with chills running down their spine. Despite the graveyard's small size, the legend of the Green Lady has grown far beyond its borders. She has become a symbol of Connecticut's ghostly past, an echo of love, loss, and restless spirit that continues to stir imaginations. As long as the cemetery stands and the mists roll in, the Green Lady is said to never truly rest. Number 21, the Dover Demon. In April 1977, the quiet town of Dover, Massachusetts, became the epicenter of one of New England's most puzzling legends. Over 2 nights, several teenagers reported seeing a strange creature along Farm Street and Miller Hill Road. Described as having glowing orange eyes, long spindly fingers, and a watermelon-shaped head, the Dover Demon was unlike anything anyone had seen before. It stood no more than 4 feet tall, hairless and pale, with skin that resembled sandpaper. The first sighting was by a 17-year-old driving home late at night. He spotted the creature clinging to a low stone wall, staring at him with glowing eyes. Within 48 hours, 2 more teens gave nearly identical descriptions, none of whom knew each other. What made the legend so compelling was the consistency of the reports and the credibility of the witnesses, who were all deemed reliable and had no clear reason to lie. Local police investigated, but no physical evidence was found. Cryptozoologists and skeptics alike debated the sightings, offering explanations ranging from escaped animals to alien visitors. Yet nothing fit perfectly. The creature didn't match known wildlife, and the witnesses stood by their stories for years, fueling speculation and fascination across New England. Though never seen again, the Dover Demon left its mark on Massachusetts folklore. It became a source of pride, mystery, and even inspiration for books and documentaries. Whether a cryptid, an alien, or a strange trick of the night, the story remains one of the region's most famous unsolved encounters, and the demon's stare still lingers in local imagination. Number 20, Monster of Poco Moonshine Lake. In the quiet wilderness of Washington County, Maine, stories have long circulated about a creature said to dwell in the murky waters of Poco Moonshine Lake. Known as the Monster of Poco Moonshine, this serpent-like beast has terrified locals for generations. Some believe the legend dates back to Native American times, with early tribes telling tales of a great snake that lived in the lake and could slither onto land. The lake's eerie stillness, paired with strange ripples and unexplained splashes, only deepens the mystery. The most famous sighting came in 1882 when a logger named Francis Drake reported a massive serpent over 30 feet long writhing near the shore. He and several others claimed to have seen the creature's head rise from the water before disappearing back beneath the surface. Over the years, dozens of similar reports followed, all describing a huge snake-like body with a head like a horse or eel. Despite searches and investigations, no physical evidence has ever been found. Skeptics blame sturgeon or other large fish, but locals say those don't explain the monster's size or behavior. Even today, fishermen and campers share tales of loud splashes and the feeling of being watched from the lake's dark depths. Some believe the creature is a spiritual guardian tied to the land, while others insist it's simply a surviving prehistoric animal. Either way, the legend has become a part of the region's identity. Whether a relic from ancient folklore or an unexplained mystery of the modern age, the monster of Poco Moonshine continues to stir imaginations. Visitors are drawn to the lake not only for its beauty, but in hopes of spotting something unnatural just beneath the surface. Number 19, Mercy Brown, the Last Vampire. In the small town of Exeter, Rhode Island, a chilling story unfolded in 1892 that would be remembered as the last recorded vampire panic in New England. Mercy Brown, a 19-year-old girl, died of tuberculosis, known then as consumption. But when her brother Edwin fell ill shortly after her death, townspeople grew fearful that Mercy was somehow draining his life from beyond the grave. In desperation, they turned to a long-held superstition, vampirism. With the town's blessing, Mercy's body was exhumed 2 months after her burial. Strangely, her corpse appeared unnaturally preserved, with blood still present in her heart. Convinced she was a vampire, locals burned her heart and mixed the ashes into a tonic for Edwin to drink, hoping it would break her supernatural grip on him. Despite their efforts, Edwin died soon after, and the panic eventually faded into history. While the story seems shocking today, it reflected the fear and misunderstanding surrounding tuberculosis in the 19th century. With medical knowledge limited, folklore offered a frightening but culturally accepted explanation. Mercy wasn't the only exhumed body during this time, but her case became the most famous due to press coverage and preserved records. Today, Mercy Brown's grave in Chestnut Hill Cemetery still draws curious visitors. Her story has inspired books, films, and even connections to Bram Stoker's Dracula. But beyond the sensationalism lies a tale of fear, loss, and the ways communities seek meaning during tragedy. Mercy's legend is not just about a vampire, it's about how real grief can twist into myth. Number 18, New London Ledge, Lighthouse Ghost. Perched at the mouth of the Thames River in Connecticut, the New London Ledge Lighthouse stands as one of the state's most haunted places. Built in 1909, the lighthouse is said to be haunted by the ghost of a keeper named Ernie, who allegedly threw himself into the sea after learning his wife had run off with a ferry captain. Though no official records confirm Ernie's existence, generations of Coast Guard personnel stationed at the lighthouse swear by the legend. Ernie is said to have been a diligent, quiet man who loved his post, until heartbreak consumed him. Since his supposed death, unexplained happenings have plagued the lighthouse. Doors slam, bedsheets are yanked off, radios turn on by themselves, and footsteps echo on empty floors. Some keepers even claim to have seen a shadowy figure pacing the upper level, peering out to sea. In the 1980s, paranormal researchers visited the site and documented odd readings and movements, adding fuel to the legend. Despite modern automation, Ernie's presence is still said to linger. Coast Guard members once stationed there often left early or refused overnight shifts. To this day, even maintenance crews report strange cold spots and a constant eerie feeling of being watched. Though Ernie's tale may be rooted more in tradition than fact, it captures the isolation and emotional weight of life at sea. The lighthouse, standing defiantly against wind and tide, now also holds a legacy of sorrow and love lost. Whether ghost or memory, something certainly remains on the ledge, and it hasn't let go. Number 17, the Palatine Light. Off the coast of Block Island, Rhode Island, strange lights are said to appear over the ocean during stormy nights. Locals call it the Palatine Light, believed to be the ghostly glow of a doomed ship known as the Princess Augusta, or the Palatine, which wrecked on the island's shores in 1738. The vessel had carried German immigrants to America, but the journey was plagued by hardship, starvation, and death. By the time it reached Block Island, many passengers were sick or dying, and the crew had all but abandoned them. According to legend, islanders rescued some of the survivors, but set the damaged ship back out to sea with those who couldn't walk. As it drifted, a fire broke out on board. Some say it was set intentionally. The ship disappeared into the fog, burning as it sank, while the screams of passengers echoed across the waves. Since then, residents have reported seeing a fiery glow over the water, hearing cries in the night, and witnessing a ship-shaped shadow sailing just offshore. Witnesses from the 18th century to the present have described the same eerie sight, a glowing mass on the water, flickering like flames, moving with no wind or current. Some believe it's the spirits of those who died in terror, while others think it's a natural phenomenon explained by gases or weather. But the consistency of the reports and the deep emotion tied to the tale keep the mystery alive. Whether the Palatine Light is a ghost ship or a trick of the eye, it reminds Block Island of its past. It's a story of tragedy, fear, and unanswered questions, made more haunting by the fact that the light still appears, centuries after the ship vanished into the sea. Number 16, Ocean-Born Mary. Ocean-Born Mary's story begins with drama and ends in mystery. Born in 1720 during a voyage from Ireland to New England, Mary Wilson entered the world as pirates attacked her family's ship. According to legend, the pirate captain agreed to spare everyone on board if the baby was named after his mother, Mary. As a gift, he gave the newborn's family a bolt of green silk for her future wedding dress. Mary lived up to her nickname, known in New Hampshire for her red hair, tall figure, and sharp wit. Mary eventually married and settled in Henniker, New Hampshire. After her husband's death, she moved into a large house where she lived for decades. After her passing in 1814, whispers began that her home was haunted. Some even claimed the pirate who spared her had returned and was buried beneath the hearthstone, guarding treasure. Others insisted Mary herself still roamed the halls, especially near a window she often sat by, waiting for guests. Sightings of a tall woman in colonial dress, ghostly footsteps, and strange flickers of green have persisted for generations. Though no treasure has ever been found, many say the house feels alive with energy. Some visitors say Mary watches over her old home kindly, while others describe a feeling of being closely followed through its narrow halls. Ocean-Born Mary's legend blends history with romance and a touch of the supernatural. Whether she truly haunts the old home or simply lives on in local memory, her story has become one of New Hampshire's most beloved and spookiest folk tales. Number 15, Jewett City Vampires. In the mid-1800s, the quiet town of Jewett City faced a mystery that sent chills through the community. Several members of the Ray family died one after another from a strange illness, believed to be consumption or tuberculosis. But back then, when medicine couldn't explain such tragedies, people turned to folklore. Whispers began spreading that perhaps something unnatural was happening, something that had to do with the dead. The townsfolk became convinced that one of the Ray family members, buried in the local cemetery, was rising from the grave to drain the life from the living. In a panic, the family exhumed several bodies. When they discovered signs of decay in one that seemed too fresh, they burned the remains right there in the graveyard, believing it would stop the curse. It wasn't uncommon during that time. Vampire panics swept parts of New England during tuberculosis outbreaks. What makes the Jewett City case stand out is that it's one of the best documented vampire panics in the United States. Local newspapers wrote about it, and historians later uncovered death records and family journals that aligned with the story. Unlike spooky tales passed down by word of mouth, this legend came with paperwork. It showed how fear and folklore could lead to real, unsettling actions, even digging up loved ones. Today, you can still visit the Ray family plots in Jewett City's cemetery. The gravestones remain, surrounded by moss and silence. but visitors say there's an uneasy feeling that lingers. Some claim to feel watched, while others have heard faint coughing in the breeze. The legend of the Jewett City vampires continues to haunt Connecticut, a reminder of how fear of the unknown once gripped an entire town. Number 14. He Black Flash of Provincetown. In the 1930s, a strange figure began terrorizing the seaside town of Provincetown. Tall, fast, and dressed in black, the mysterious being would leap out from alleyways and scare passers-by before vanishing into the darkness. Witnesses described glowing eyes, an inhuman speed, and a cackling laugh that echoed through the fog. People began calling him the Black Flash. The sightings became so frequent that the police got involved, but every attempt to catch the Black Flash ended in failure. He was always one step ahead, sometimes literally jumping over tall fences or disappearing into thin air. Some believed he was a prankster in costume, but others feared something much more sinister, perhaps even supernatural. The townspeople became so afraid that children were kept indoors and people avoided walking alone at night. While no one was ever seriously harmed, the fear was real. Newspaper clippings from the time show the growing panic in the community. Strangely, the sightings stopped as suddenly as they began. Some say the prankster either got bored or scared, while others claim the Black Flash simply returned to whatever shadowy place he came from. The mystery was never solved. Even today, the legend of the Black Flash haunts Provincetown. Tour guides mention him during ghost walks, and locals still swap stories about relatives who saw him. The fog rolls in thick along the coast, and when it does, some say you can still hear the sound of his laughter carried on the wind. Whether man or myth, the Black Flash left his mark on this coastal town. Number 13, the Phantom Ship of Casco Bay. Off the coast of Maine in Casco Bay, sailors and locals have reported a chilling sight for over 2 centuries. A burning ghost ship drifting silently through the mist. The legend began in the 18th century when a British vessel allegedly caught fire in the bay, dooming all on board. Since then, reports of a 3-masted schooner engulfed in flames appearing before vanishing without a trace have become part of Maine's coastal folklore. Witnesses often describe seeing crew members waving frantically for help, only for the ship to vanish into thin air moments later. The most famous sighting occurred in 1913, when a group of boys near Cape Elizabeth saw the ship and ran to get help, only to return and find nothing. Others over the years have sworn the ship appears just before storms, its sails glowing orange against dark skies. The fact that so many of the sightings coincide with foul weather has only deepened the mystery, leading many to believe the ship is a harbinger of doom. Some say it's cursed to forever relive its fiery fate. The phantom ship has become a cultural symbol of Maine's haunted shoreline, blending tragedy with mystery. Skeptics claim the sightings are just tricks of fog and light, but the consistency of the stories, passed down through generations, gives the legend weight. Fishermen still talk of the ship in hushed tones, especially during storm season. The lore endures not because of proof, but because of the power of shared belief and fear. Even today, on quiet evenings when the fog rolls in over Casco Bay, some claim to hear ghostly cries carried by the wind. Whether it's the spirit of a lost ship or just the sea playing tricks, The phantom schooner continues to haunt Maine's coast. For many locals, it's more than just a ghost story. It's a reminder that the sea never forgets. Number 12. Husach Tunnel. In the rugged hills of western Massachusetts lies the Husach Tunnel, a 4.75-mile-long railroad passage with a chilling nickname, the Bloody Pit. Construction began in 1851 and took nearly 25 years to complete, during which nearly 200 workers lost their lives in explosions, rockfalls, and accidents. Their deaths and the eerie silence of the finished tunnel gave rise to stories of hauntings and ghostly apparitions. To this day, the Husach Tunnel is considered one of the most haunted places in New England. One of the most infamous accidents occurred in 1867 when an explosion trapped 13 miners in a central shaft. Rescue came too late, and workers later claimed they could still hear screams echoing through the tunnel. Years later, strange voices, whispers, and phantom lights were reported by crews passing through. Some even saw shadowy figures walking along the tracks before vanishing. The tunnel's darkness seemed to absorb light and sound, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Even after the tunnel became operational, train operators told of sudden cold spots and the overwhelming sense of being watched. A few refused to travel the route alone. Over time, the stories became legend, blending real tragedy with supernatural fear. For locals and rail workers, the Husach Tunnel wasn't just a marvel of engineering. It was a place where the dead were never truly at rest. Some say the workers cursed the tunnel with their final breath. Today, the Husach Tunnel remains active, but carries with it a heavy legacy. Visitors report eerie sensations near the entrance, and ghost hunters have captured unexplained sounds on recordings. Number 11. White Lady of Brownville Road. Along Brownville Road near Millinocket, Maine, drivers have long whispered about a ghostly figure known as the White Lady. According to local legend, a woman dressed in a flowing white gown wanders the roadside at night, appearing suddenly in the headlights of passing cars. Most say she looks confused or frightened, as if searching for someone she lost long ago. The sightings are so consistent that locals often warn new drivers to be cautious along that lonely stretch of road. The story goes back to the 1950s, when a woman and her husband were driving through the area and ran out of gas. The man walked off to get help, but never returned. When the woman was later found, she had died from exposure, her body discovered not far from where they had stopped. Since then, people believe her spirit still waits along Brownville Road, trying to reunite with the man who left her behind. Her presence is felt strongest during foggy nights, when the air turns icy cold without warning. Drivers who've seen her describe a woman with pale skin, hollow eyes, and a soft glow around her. She never speaks. She simply vanishes when approached. Some cars have even stalled near the spot where she's been seen, as if her energy disrupts engines and electronics. Over the decades, her legend has grown, and though no one has captured her on camera, the stories continue to spread. Locals say that if you see the White Lady, don't stop. Just keep driving and don't look back. Whether she's truly a lost soul or just a cautionary tale passed through generations, the White Lady of Brownville Road has become a permanent part of Maine folklore, a spectral reminder of love, loss, and the mysteries of the backroads. Number 10. Hannah Crana, the Witch of Monroe. In the quiet town of Monroe, Connecticut, lived a woman named Hannah Crana, who became one of New England's most feared figures in the 1800s. She was known by locals as a witch, not because she practiced spells, but because strange misfortunes seemed to follow anyone who dared cross her. After her husband mysteriously died, rumors swirled that Hannah had pushed him into a trance that caused his fatal fall. From that moment on, people whispered about her powers and gave her a wide berth. Hannah leaned into her fearsome reputation. She demanded favors from neighbors and cursed those who refused. One story tells of a farmer who denied her a pie, only to have his prized livestock die shortly after. Even local children avoided her crooked house on the hill, where her black cat prowled the porch. Though never tried as a witch, Hannah became a living legend, her every glare believed to cause crops to fail or wagons to crash. As her death neared in 1859, Hannah gave one final warning, demanding that she not be buried before a storm and that her coffin be carried by foot. But her wishes were ignored. The day of her funeral, a sudden storm rolled through, lightning cracked, and her coffin slid from the wagon and burst open. Some said it was a final curse. Others believed it was proof she truly held dark powers until the very end. To this day, Hannah Crana's grave rests in Gregory's Four Corners burial ground, and visitors still claim to feel a strange chill there. Her legend remains one of Connecticut's most famous witch stories, not of one burned at the stake, but of a woman who outlived her time and turned fear into power. Her tale haunts Monroe, where the line between superstition and truth still feels thin. Number 9. The Devil's Footprint. In North Kingstown, Rhode Island, a curious mark is etched into a slab of stone on Devil's Foot Road, a cloven hoof deeply pressed into the rock. Locals say it's not from any animal of this world, but from the devil himself. According to legend, a pious minister once challenged the devil to a test of faith atop that very rock, and when the devil fled in defeat, he left behind the scorched imprint of his foot. The story dates back to colonial times, when fiery sermons and tales of Satan were part of everyday life. The preacher, thought to be a man of great faith, had reportedly been taunted by dark forces. When he called upon God for protection, the devil is said to have appeared trying to tempt or frighten him. But the preacher stood strong, and in a final act of defiance, the devil stomped the stone, leaving behind a reminder of evil's presence. Generations have visited the stone, some out of curiosity, others out of fear. The mark hasn't faded with time, despite weather and erosion. Children in the area were warned not to play near it, and some families avoided the road altogether. Stories of strange shadows and cold gusts near the footprint still circulate, adding to the mystery. Whether you believe the mark was caused by supernatural forces or is just an odd shape in the stone, the Devil's Footprint remains one of Rhode Island's most eerie and lasting legends. It's a chilling piece of folklore that blurs the line between cautionary tale and unexplained mystery, one that still haunts the New England countryside. Number 8. Spectre Moose of Maine. Deep in the forests of northern Maine, hunters and loggers have long told of a massive, ghostly moose, white as snow and nearly twice the size of any ordinary bull. Known as the Spectre Moose, this towering creature has been spotted since the late 1800s always appearing during the fall hunting season, only to vanish into thin air. Unlike normal moose, bullets are said to pass straight through it as if it isn't truly there. One of the earliest accounts came from a guide near Lobster Lake in 1891, who claimed he saw the beast stand over 10 feet tall, with antlers spanning a full 12 feet. Since then, dozens of reports have followed, often from seasoned hunters who swear they weren't imagining things. Some even claimed to have fired point blank at the moose, only to watch it disappear into a mist. Many believe the moose is a spirit, perhaps of a rare albino bull that once roamed the area and was unjustly killed. Others say it's an omen, warning of danger or death, since strange accidents have sometimes followed sightings. Locals have noted that the moose always appears alone, never with a herd, and its eyes are said to glow unnaturally bright in the dark. Today, the legend of the Spectre moose lives on as one of Maine's most haunting cryptid stories. Whether ghost, spirit, or unexplained animal, it captures the mystery of the deep woods and the sense that not everything in nature is meant to be understood. Even now, some still head into the forest, hoping to glimpse the ghostly giant, and hoping they'll make it back to tell the tale. Number 7. Lizzy Bordon House. In the quiet town of Fall River stands a house frozen in time, where one of America's most infamous murder cases unfolded. On August 4, 1892, Andrew and Abby Bordon were found brutally hacked to death with an axe inside their home. Suspicion quickly turned to Andrew's daughter, Lizzy Bordon, whose strange behavior and inconsistent stories captured the public's attention. Though she was tried and ultimately acquitted, many believe she got away with murder and the chilling rhyme, "Lizzy Bordon took an axe," still echoes today. The house has since been turned into a bed and breakfast, but visitors don't just come for the history. Many report hearing unexplained footsteps, whispers, and cold spots throughout the house. Doors slam on their own, and some claim to see shadowy figures at the foot of the bed in the parents' former bedroom. One guest even described seeing a misty figure swinging an invisible axe in the basement where Lizzy was once suspected of burning her dress. Paranormal investigators have recorded strange EVPs, and ghost hunting shows often highlight the intense energy that lingers inside. While no definitive evidence points to Lizzy's guilt, many believe her spirit, or those of her parents, remain trapped in the place where their lives so violently ended. The home's grim legacy has only grown with time, drawing curious visitors and skeptics alike. Today, the Lizzy Bordon House is one of the most haunted homes in New England. Whether you're fascinated by true crime or the supernatural, the atmosphere is undeniable. Each creak of the floorboard seems to carry a memory of that dark day, making it a must-visit for those brave enough to spend the night where horror once lived. Number 6. Champ, Lake Champlain Monster. For centuries, people living near Lake Champlain have shared tales of a mysterious creature lurking beneath its waters. Known as Champ, this lake monster has become Vermont's own version of the Loch Ness Monster. Native American tribes like the Abenaki spoke of a large serpent-like creature in the lake long before European settlers arrived. Over time, the legend grew as fishermen, tourists, and even law enforcement officers reported seeing something unusual rise from the water. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1977 when Sandra Mansi took a photograph that appeared to show a long-necked creature emerging from the lake. The image caused a media frenzy, drawing attention from cryptozoologists and skeptics alike. Scientists couldn't confirm what the photo showed, but it gave new life to the legend. Many believe Champ could be a surviving plesiosaur, while others suggest sturgeon or floating logs explain the sightings. Despite the uncertainty, Champ has captured the imagination of the region. Boat captains tell tales of sudden waves and eerie shapes moving just below the surface. Local businesses celebrate the creature with statues, souvenirs, and even festivals. In 1981, the state of Vermont passed a resolution protecting Champ, showing just how deeply the legend is woven into the area's culture and identity. Whether Champ is real or a figment of folklore, the mystery continues to draw people to Lake Champlain. On misty mornings, when the water is still and the mountains reflect in the surface, it's easy to believe something ancient and unknown swims below. The legend lives on with every ripple and every hopeful eye watching the water. Number 5. Dudley Town, the Cursed Village. Deep in the woods near Cornwall, Connecticut, lies the forgotten village of Dudley Town, a place long abandoned, yet still surrounded by whispers of a terrible curse. Settled in the 1740s, the village was once home to a small community of farmers. But as years passed, strange misfortunes began to plague the town. Lightning strikes, mental illness, suicides, and disappearances. Locals began to believe that the land itself was cursed, possibly tied to the Dudley family name, which some claim descended from English nobility who were cursed for treason. By the late 1800s, the town had mostly vanished. Trees and vines reclaimed the land, and the once proud homes crumbled into stone ruins. The dark legend only grew stronger as stories of ghostly apparitions, eerie voices, and an overwhelming sense of dread circulated among those who dared to explore the woods. Hikers report camera malfunctions and sudden panic while near the ruins. Some believe the forest watches, as if the village never truly let go of its last residents. Despite being on private property and closed to the public, Dudley Town remains one of Connecticut's most talked about legends. Paranormal investigators and thrill seekers continue to be drawn to the area, hoping to witness the strange energy firsthand, but many are warned not to linger too long. Locals say that once the curse of Dudley Town finds you, it doesn't let go easily. To this day, Dudley Town stands as a cautionary tale, an eerie patch of wilderness with a reputation darker than night. Whether it's cursed history or collective fear, the legacy of this ghost village has endured for centuries. The forest may seem peaceful at first, but behind the silence, the shadows of Dudley Town still whisper. Number 4. Lad School Hauntings. The Lad School in Exeter, Rhode Island, opened in 1908 with the goal of housing those with developmental disabilities. At first, it was seen as a place of care, but behind its locked doors, a darker story unfolded. Over the decades, reports of mistreatment, neglect, and unethical medical practices emerged, turning the school into a symbol of suffering. Many residents never left, passing away within its walls under tragic conditions. After its closure in 1994, the abandoned school became the center of ghost stories and unsettling tales. Locals reported lights flickering in empty buildings, doors slamming without cause, and disembodied voices echoing through the long hallways. Some say the spirits of former patients remain trapped, confused, and searching for peace. Shadowy figures have been spotted in the windows of buildings long without power or purpose. Teenagers and ghost hunters who sneaked into the site often spoke of a heavy atmosphere, like the building itself remembered every scream, every tear, every moment of sorrow. One chilling legend tells of a woman's ghost who walks the grounds, crying out for someone named Thomas, her voice full of sorrow and confusion. No one has ever discovered who she was, but her cries still echo through the ruins. The lad school has since been partially demolished, yet the land still feels unsettled. Locals avoid it at night, claiming strange sounds can still be heard across the property. Though the buildings may crumble, the spirits left behind continue to haunt Rhode Island's memory, refusing to be forgotten. Number 3. Mount Washington, Hotel's Princess. Tucked into the White Mountains of New Hampshire stands the Grand Mount Washington Hotel, a luxurious resort with a history as rich as its architecture. Built in 1902, it was once the summer retreat of Carolyn Stickney, a wealthy socialite married to the hotel's founder. After her husband's death, Carolyn continued to visit the hotel alone, eventually becoming known as the Princess by staff and guests. She lived in room 314, a room now central to one of New England's most enduring ghost stories. Over the years, guests have reported seeing a lady in elegant Victorian clothing gliding through the halls. She appears calm and regal, often brushing her hair or standing by the window of room 314. Hotel staff have reported finding the room mysteriously rearranged, with drawers opened and perfume scents lingering in the air. Many believe it is the spirit of Carolyn herself, still watching over the hotel she once loved. Despite her ghostly presence, the Princess of Mount Washington is not a frightening spirit. Most guests describe her as warm, protective, and peaceful, almost as if she's making sure everyone enjoys their stay. She's even been captured in photos, a faint outline or shimmering light near her old suite. Some guests request room 314 just for the chance to meet her. The hotel embraces the legend, even offering historical tours that highlight Carolyn's life and the hauntings. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, many who stay at the Mount Washington Hotel leave with a story and a sense that the princess never truly checked out. Number 2. Pigman of Northfield. In the quiet town of Northfield, Vermont, locals still whisper about a creature said to roam the woods, known only as the Pigman. The legend traces back to Halloween night in 1951, when a teenager named Sam Harris vanished without a trace. He had gone out with friends and never returned home. Search parties scoured the area, especially near a rocky gorge known as the Devil's Wash Bowl, but no sign of him was ever found. Then, weeks later, strange sightings began to spread. People claimed to see a tall, barefoot figure in the forest, shirtless, covered in filth, and wearing the severed head of a pig. Some said it wasn't a mask at all, but that the creature's face was truly part human, part hog. The legend grew darker with every telling. Some believed Sam had been taken by a cult or cursed in a ritual, transforming him into something inhuman. Others insisted the Pigman was a vengeful spirit, haunting the woods where his body was never laid to rest. Over the decades, hikers and campers have reported unsettling encounters near the wash bowl, shadows darting between trees, strange grunting noises, and glowing eyes watching from the brush. One couple swore they saw a figure crouched by the road, gnawing on an animal carcass, before sprinting into the woods. Police reports exist of strange disturbances, but no official explanation has ever been given. To this day, the Pigman remains one of Vermont's most bone-chilling legends. Whether it's a lost boy driven mad in the wild or a monster born from folklore, the fear it inspires is real. Locals warn not to hike those woods alone at night, because if the stories are true, the Pigman still watches from the trees, waiting for his next visitor. Number 1. Salem Witch Trials. In 1692, the peaceful village of Salem, Massachusetts, fell into hysteria. It began when several young girls in the Puritan community claimed to be tormented by witches. They named neighbors and even family members as their tormentors, sparking a wave of fear that quickly consumed the town. In just a few months, over 150 people were accused of witchcraft, and a special court was formed to handle the trials. What followed became one of the darkest and most tragic chapters in early American history. 20 people were executed, 19 by hanging, and one, Giles Corey, crushed to death by stones after refusing to enter a plea. Most of the accused were innocent townspeople caught in a whirlwind of paranoia, personal grudges, and religious extremism. The evidence used was flimsy at best. Spectral sightings, odd behavior, or even baking a strange cake could mark someone as a witch. By the end of the year, the trials had ended, and the community was left with deep regret and shame. Today, the legacy of the Salem witch trials still haunts the town. The graves of the accused are visited by thousands, and ghost tours recount the eerie tales tied to the old jail cells and execution sites. Many claim to hear whispers in the graveyards, feel sudden cold drafts, or see ghostly figures along Gallows Hill. The spirits of the wrongly condemned are said to linger, demanding that their stories never be forgotten. The Salem witch trials stand not only as a terrifying legend, but also as a lasting warning. They remind us how fear can turn friends into enemies, and how justice can fail when guided by superstition. Though centuries have passed, the shadows of 1692 still stretch across Salem, and the ghosts of the past are never far behind. Now please tell us which legend did you like the most. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.